What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Ethereum Classic. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down, what's been really moving it, and why this week is going to be huge for the broader market. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So at the time doing this video, it is up 1.23%. Over the last 24 hours though, fairly low volume. So 4.03 million. And so that's been kind of dropping quite considerably. Over the last 5 days though, it is finally starting to build up some good momentum after bouncing off of that general $13 range. So near the end of the video, I'll go over some of the technicals, but this upcoming week could change everything, and most likely leading up to the big event on Wednesday, you could see kind of some level of FOMO start to occur where you kind of see things really moving higher, because crypto fear and greed index is under the fear category, largely bouncing back and forth between the extreme fear and fear, but people aren't really looking for risky assets. And with potentially a rate cut this upcoming week, things could change. So this upcoming week, we have a lot of big data points. Starting off on Tuesday, we have ADP weekly and also JOLT numbers. That in among itself could really have the market starting to think about January numbers and January potential rate cuts, because even Bessent mentioned that we could be seeing a 25 basis point cut in January. That would be huge for kind of have the market to pivot to more risk on once again. But Wednesday, that's going to be the big deal for the market, because right now it looks like we're going to be getting a 25 basis point cut. There's a 95% likelihood of that occurring. And then what Powell says afterwards, though, that's what's going to really cause either mass FOMO or just kind of a minor green day. Because if Powell somehow does allude to a cut in January, largely because of consumer constraints and fears associated to labor, then you could see things, just like I said, rocket like crazy. Lately, we've seen like very low volume across the board, not just with ETC, but Bitcoin, everything and their dog has been really suppressed. And over the last 7 days, very few coins are actually in the green. Ethereum is actually doing fairly well, mind you, up 1.89% over the last 7 days. But still, for ETC, you're not seeing too much price action or any craziness. So it is ranked number 40 based on the market cap. So it is still kind of lagging, and it's just needs time, right? And I think overall that they need to really develop the ecosystem. This is something I've kind of mentioned on and off occasionally on videos, but still, nonetheless, if risk on does occur in the broader market, you'll see ETC kind of move higher with that. Aside from all of that though, looking at liquidations, I always like to see where kind of who is selling, right? Whether that be shorts or longs. And we've seen many times in the past that we see like ETC go through short squeezes, and ETC is very heavily shorted. It has been since pretty much 2021 for the most part. Lately, regrettably, it looks like it's just been longs closing out their position, but still with very low volume, it's really hard to kind of analyze a lot of this. With a cut and possibly even alluding to a January cut, this is where you'll see a uptick in volume, and hopefully that should be enough to really prompt shorts to return. Similar to even what happened in July. Again, mind you, very low volume. That was enough to really push it quite considerably. Roughly, it looks like it went from about $15 to $19. So in general, that same type of price action could occur, because right now with it at $13.35, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So I'm looking at the 4-hour chart. So for those of you that want to day trade or just swing, watch for a lot of these support points. So 1292, 1327, 1348. That's going to be the kind of next strong support and resistance points. And if things do start to really heat up, you could realistically see that 1472. And if that is kind of broken, you could see 1562. Last time around, leading into American Thanksgiving, it kind of bounced off of this R3. So we do know that this is a very strong kind of resistance point. So that 1472. So just generally watch for that. But things could get very interesting this week. Vice versa, if, although, like I said, I don't want to spread any fear or anything, but there is only a 90% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. If Powell comes out and says, hey, sorry, no cut this time, market's going to freak out. So anticipate a kind of consolidation period. So looking at the 1 day, if things do break, anticipate 1114 or even worse case scenario, 872 as support points. I think just ETC and just cryptocurrency in general is very difficult to time the bottom. Same with time, like kind of exit points. Best thing that you can do is dollar cost average. Let me know your viewpoint on that and if you've been overall buying lately. One thing to bring up though is on the actual chart. At the time of doing this video, it is currently below the 10-day moving average. So it doesn't really have that much momentum. But then again, volume has just been really dropping ever since the November 6th kind of push higher. And then it's just been dropping more and more. So cryptocurrency, and just even aside from that, stocks, more riskier stocks, you need capital to get in. And right now there is record levels of big money sitting on the sidelines waiting for maybe the right time. I wish I could tell you exactly what that is, but quickly popping over here, there's roughly around $7.65 trillion sitting in money markets. And even technically, it looks like just last week, there was $86.82 billion that left both crypto and equity to go back into money markets. So this hands down is exactly why you're seeing, and just cryptocurrency and stocks are experiencing lower volume. So I think that 7.65 trillion does need to feel kind of that there is more better opportunity cost, and that they can kind of start cycling out, prompting a big market rotation. So I think in general, all we need is that good cut and Powell to say those wonderful words that we all want to hear for potentially a January cut. So again, this week, just add this ETC to your watch list, or potentially again, just dollar cost average leading into Wednesday's big event. Let me know your viewpoint on all that. And if you have been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been generally doing with ETC? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.